Hi, this is my first video of this type where I sit and talk to a camera in a room all alone. I'm not in the habit of doing so, obviously, but I feel the story I have to tell gives hope to others, and I am going to do that. It's laid upon my heart to do so. So here goes. Um, Within the last few years, my father and my brother have passed away. My father passed away before my brother. The story surrounding my brother's death is quite amazing, full of coincidences that I believe are signs or messages. Let me tell you what they are. Um, Two things you have to know about my brother first. I always called him Bubba. And no, we're not from the South, but that's what my family always called him and got me to call him as a little kid. My brother was 15 years older than I am. The other thing about my brother was he had to have peanut butter every day. I'm not a big fan of peanut butter, so, but I served it to him. He enjoyed it. And so basically, he had not been to church in 30 years, and I got him to go to church. 7 days after that event of going back to church, he passed away. And if you're religious, you know what the meaning of 7 days is. Even more rare is after his passing. That was 3 days after his passing that I had gone into work, and one of my students came in. I'm a private instructor, and I teach music. And my student comes in, and I accidentally call him Bubba. Well, okay, coincidence. Maybe I'm just mentally, emotionally distraught from that week in the funeral and everything. So I just brushed it off, and no big deal. So the student comes in and sits down at the piano, and he starts sniffing. And I'm thinking, oh, he's got a cold. I got to back up. And I says, Mason, are you okay, buddy? And he says, yeah. He says, it just smells like peanut butter in here. So I start sniffing. I don't smell peanut butter. And believe me, after serving your brother peanut butter every day, you're going to notice that smell. And he kept going on and on about it. It smells like a peanut butter factory in here, was his exact quote. And I says, okay, Mason, that's nice. I brushed that one off too, but I thought it odd. Then he pulls out a piece of sheet music and said, I have an older brother, and he wants me to learn this piece. Well, keep in mind that Mason knows nothing about my brother's passing. He doesn't know anything about my family or anything. So he pulls out this piece of sheet music, and I go, okay, Mason, let's take a look at it and see what we can do to help you. And he puts it up on the stand. There's no lyrics to this song at all, at least not in this music, but the title of the tune, 3 days after my brother's passing, the title of the tune on the sheet music is still alive. Now, if you're religious, you know what 3 days later means too. Now, those are really heavy coincidences, and I'll tell you, at that moment, I turned my back, I walked over to the computer, and I teared up heavily, and I kept it from him. The following 5 minutes, I went out and I talked to his mother, and I told her the situation, and I asked her if she would mind me taking a picture of Mason holding up the sheet music, because I knew my sister was not going to believe this. So I did, and if my editing skills are any good here, I'll be able to pop that picture in there for you and show you. But I just think that I would have a better chance of winning the lottery every day than having that occur the whole 7 days later after going to church, and then 3 days later after his passing. Now, the one thing I did not mention was the fact that I got to say to my brother everything I wanted to say. 3 days before he passed, we talked about the anniversary of my father's passing, and I told my brother, I says, if you're going to get me any kind of message through God or however you can get me a message that you're okay, I'm really stupid. You're going to have to give it to me in black and white. Nothing's more black and white than sheet music. I mean, what do you do with that? I know. I took it as a sign. And the reason I took it as a sign is because there were many signs before this story that happened to my father during my father's passing. Now, during my father's passing, I had not been going to church. I wasn't a Christian at that point, although I considered that, yeah, there's God, but I didn't go to church and I wasn't much into it at all. And I wasn't concerned with it. I was more concerned about everyday life, work, and play, and what I was going to get the new collectible, or have fun with my friends, or play in a band, and just all kinds of other things. And then I became involved with the church after my father's passing because of the events that surrounded that one, and which I'll have in another video later on. So I thought I would share that with you, just because I feel it gives one hope, and to know that God cares enough to give us a message every now and then. And the other amazing factor is, and this just happened the other night, I was watching a video by Jonathan Kleck, and he was talking about the meaning of his name, Jonathan, and I got curious, so I thought, wow, right? My name is Cy, which is unusual in itself. It's just S-Y, so there's not a lot, a lot of letters. And I can remember when I was a kid, when they started having keychains and coffee mugs with people's names on them, I would always look, and there would never be my name. So it was like, okay, yeah, whatever. Guess I just won't have a mug and a keychain. However, like I said, just after watching Jonathan's video, I checked out my name, and I found out it's a Hebrew name. And the meaning of it is God hears. And that blew me away. And that's just one of many coincidences that have been occurring lately. In another video, I will share with you a dream I had, and along with that dream, all these significant occurrences happening around me that are very. All I can say is it's like living in the Twilight Zone. It's indescribable.